As we come to the end of this enriching day, I'm happy to introduce the closing session. And I'm delighted to welcome State Secretary Hélène Boudliger-Artieda and Ambassador Patricia Danzi, who will offer the closing words for today's event. So, welcome back. I would like to ask both of you two questions. So, what will you take away from these 2 days, and what you impressed the most?
Okay, first of all, I have to say the amount of people that show interest to this event, wow. Nowadays, sometimes I speak to media and I use the word solidarity, and you'll be surprised on what parts of the population react to it. You know, the America first, unfortunately, also sometimes happens in Switzerland first. But here, I see the true Switzerland, those that embrace solidarity. So I'm very thankful that you came. Secondly, I'm happy that... Thank you. Secondly, I'm happy that private sector is in the room as well. Stefan gave us the impression that he's very much in tune in what is happening when it comes in the area of cooperation, but I think we have to be frank. These two sectors of our society not always talk to each other. So I think it's important that we managed to reunite both the cooperation community with the Swiss private sector. So that's great. We should do it probably more often. Thirdly, always good to do things with SDC. You know, we're sometimes a bit competitive.
Are we?
Sometimes. You know, it's normal, huh? We fight for funds, we fight for the great ideas, but it's good. It's a typical Swiss relationship. You push us to be better, we try to push you to be better. So it's lovely to do this together with you and with the colleagues from SDC. And so those are my takeouts. I think also maybe that we should do more often. And thank you for doing it together with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And maybe I just add on this one, on the competition piece, as good State Secretary of Economy, you always manage to get some of our resources out of our treasury. And so this is something that we do, of course, together. There is a little bit of competition there. But as you see, we are like ebony and ivory. So it is also something that you could look at it that way.
I still remember the Blick headlines, you remember?
Don't give them credit.
Patricia, would you like also to say what impressed you most from the last 2 days?
Yes, maybe I just start from the house. Thank you, Professor, that we could use your house of innovation. I was really very impressed how it was lively. We had the students, it was probably a nightmare for security. I don't know how many entrances this building has, but it was very, very difficult to control. So thank you for the security people also to have us doing this here. Thank you for giving the House of Innovation to the inclusion of all of you here, and also for the integration. I would like to thank our staff behind the scenes also, because it takes a lot to organize such an event, I can tell you. So thank you for all of you who have worked for this here and in Bern and elsewhere. So thank you, and also for the great moderation. Maybe on the inspiration. Give them a hand, please. For the inspiration, we had some good challenges, and we did not always agree. We had yesterday the ED of the WTO, and she challenged us a lot what Switzerland should do, what we could do more to increase this 1% investment on the African continent, for instance, how to process some of the resources. This was something that was challenged not only us, but in the entire system. We had then Professor Zurbucher. He challenged us on land things on Mars. I hope that we don't have destroyed our planet so that we have to really land on Mars, because we are a bit shell-shocked of what is happening. But the good news is we recover fast, and perseverance in adversity, I think that lesson was a good one. And lastly, in terms of inspiration, I was very impressed by your students who just make it happen and include what you said, we do things for a purpose and for humanity so that we don't have to land on Mars. And they showed us just do it. And so the spirit of that we take into the next year.
Thank you very much indeed. And thank you, State Secretary. Thank you very much. Patricia Danzi, you mentioned the future. So now it's time to look into the future. So let me ask you when the next IC Forum will take place.
Well, it's not difficult. Just take the same calendar date and move it one day ahead. It's the 26th and 27th of February next year.
And where?
Geneva.
And also, I can guess the topic, maybe I can, maybe there is a video or there is a few images to look into the future.
We have some images.
2024 shattered many records, most of them negative. Global conflicts have nearly doubled over the last 5 years. 120 million people were forced from their homes by violence and natural disasters. Last year saw the highest number of humanitarian helpers killed in history. For the first time, global temperatures exceeded the critical 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold. How can we protect 300 million people affected by armed conflict? How can we guarantee humanitarian access and empower local actors? How can we make sure everyone respects international humanitarian law? How can we tackle the impacts of climate change for the most vulnerable? How can we fund growing humanitarian needs with innovative solutions? Join us for a discussion on these challenging humanitarian issues at the 5th IC Forum in Geneva.
So the mystery is revealed. It's on humanitarian issues, going from humanitarian law to humanitarian access. And we heard yesterday that people around the planet, they don't want necessarily aid. So we have to look at things differently, how we do this, who is doing it, and the whole sector has to review how things are being done. In Ghana, there is a proverb that says, don't look where you fall. Just look where you slip. And so we have to make sure that we know when we're slipping and that we don't fall.
Thank you very much, Patricia Danzi. We look forward to it. Thank you. And thank you here in Zurich. It was a pleasure to be here. And thank you also to the people who are watching online for taking part of today's discussions and also yesterday's discussions. So once again, grazie mille, vielen Dank, merci beaucoup. Have a safe trip home. Thank you. Bye.